just been finishing off the coupling rods. I've done like it says in the book. I've made a little pin at the diameter that I want the finished rods to be at the end, and also instead of a nut it's a well, a nut, but it's same diameter. I just screw them in like that, get them into my vise, and just slowly work round with the file until I get a circle all the way around, and it finishes up like that end does. I've been soldering the parts together for my lubricator, and on the filler cap I'm using a little burrow ring as well. Also I've started making all the parts for my burner. This is tubes and the tube at bottom. It tells you on the drawing to actually thread the copper tube, but I did this, but as soon as I put any pressure on to tighten a nut up on the end, it just snapped off. So I've made a little brass insert instead. It's got the thread on, it's just a bit thicker. Hopefully it'll be a lot stronger. Now in the book it doesn't actually show you how to mount the lubricator, so what I've done, I've made a little bracket out of brass. It just picks up on the two underframe bolts there, and it's got a little hole there for the lubricator fixing hole in the bottom to go onto like that. So the lubricator will sit in there, and then once I've got that in, I'm going to get my pipes connected up to the cylinder and run the little 16th pipe under here. Also I've made the cutout in the running board so that so it clears the lubricator. I've finished making the lubricator, and I've connected it all the way up to my steam chest. It told you to make an adapter for here. I made one like the picture showed, but I found it a bit short and the union nut were catching round about here. So what I've done, I've extended it with a piece of copper pipe, and then I've hidden the union nut at the back of the wheel splasher in the centre. So that length there, that's my adapter. I also have made the burners and fitted those in. The only alteration I've done to that is the pipe for the end. On the drawing it shows you to put a thread actually on the copper pipe. Well, I did this, but I found it made it so thin that when you tightened it up it snapped the pipe. So what I did, I made a little brass insert with the thread on, and it just goes into the copper pipe a bit, and then I silver soldered it in, and that seems to work really well. Also I've finished the connecting rods on the wheels, and I've put some strip on the running boards. It's again in the drawing it says to use 3mm brass angle. Well, I couldn't find any anywhere, so I found an actually cheaper solution. It's 3mm square brass. I've built the steps at the back and in the middle. They're on now, and I just made a little piece of brass, soldered it to tidy the front end up. So now it's ready for the boiler fitting. Right, it's all finished bar the painting and a little bit more detailing. I've got the smoke box door on. That's a casting from Walsall Model Industries. I couldn't resist making the chimney myself, so I made that out of a solid piece of brass bar. At some point I'm going to fill this in at front, because buffers on 4Fs are raised at front and that's all covered in. I've got the handrails all in place, dome, that's another casting from Walsall Industries. I've got all my steps in place and on tender there again, castings from the same company for the axle guides. I've got the tank breathers in place, fittings in the cab. I've got a nice little pressure gauge in there, my regulator's all plumbed up, and there she is, all done and dusted. So really I'd say that would about finished by the painting. I'm going to paint it in British Rail black, I think. I'm going to put numbers on from Normanton Shed in West Yorkshire, where we used to live. But anyway, I think it's time to steam it up and see if it works. I'm just trying to steam him up, and the pressure gauge is just starting to go up. It's only about £10 per square inch at the moment. Whatever you do, don't buy the wide metal smoke box door, get the brass one, mine's just melted. And I just realised what the noise is. I forgot to put the bloody bushes in the connecting rod. I'll do that with it. It's getting hot in there. There you go. Beautiful. About half throttle. See if I can shut it down and just go. So there we are, it's finished. Now just for a bit of tinkering, get a new smoke box door. I met one out of a chunk of brass. Just add a bit more detail and then paint it. That's it, job be good.